Ever get the feeling some companies are playing a little bit fast and loose with their numbers?
Yeah.
Like they're trying to pull a financial Houdini on us? Well, today, we are diving into the world of fraud detection.
Okay.
To see if maybe we can catch them in the act.
Right.
And the tool we're using,
Yeah.
it's not a magnifying glass, but a mathematical principle called Benford's Law.
Okay, so Benford's Law, what's fascinating about this is its simplicity.
Right.
It predicts how often each number, 1 through 9, appears as the first digit in naturally occurring data sets.
Interesting.
So think like river lengths, population figures, even financial data.
So we're not talking about the whole number. You're talking about the very first number you see.
The leading digit, exactly. And in a lot of cases, that first digit isn't random at all.
Interesting.
Benford's Law says 1 shows up as that leading digit most often.
Okay.
About 30% of the time.
Wow.
And then as you go up to 2, 3, and so on, they appear less and less frequently.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but how does this help us spot a company that's maybe cooking the books?
So if a company's financial data is legit, those numbers should generally follow that pattern.
Okay.
The pattern predicted by Benford's Law. But when someone starts, fudging the numbers, those digits often stray from this natural pattern. That's the tell.
That's incredible. It's like numbers leave a fingerprint and Benford's Law is the magnifying glass.
Yeah.
This is starting to sound like a mathematical detective story.
Right.
Tell me more.
And that's what this new research paper we're exploring today wanted to test. Can Benford's Law actually help sniff out corporate fraud in the real world?
Okay.
They even developed a new fraud detecting tool.
Oh, wow.
Called the AB score.
AB score, does that stand for Adjusted Benford?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
They analyze how much a company's financials deviate from what Benford's Law would predict.
Yeah.
But it's not as simple as just, looking at the raw numbers.
Right.
They also factored in things like company size and industry,
Okay.
because those can influence the results too.
So it's like we're making sure we're comparing apples to apples, right?
Exactly.
Like a small tech startup is going to have very different financials than like a giant manufacturing company, right?
Exactly. They standardize those scores to ensure a more accurate prediction. And the higher a company's AB score, the higher the likelihood that something fishy is going on.
This is really making me think about like all those big corporate scandals we see like in the news. Could this AB score have flagged those companies ahead of time?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And the researchers actually put it to the test.
Okay.
They looked back at some infamous cases of corporate fraud.
Okay.
And what they found was fascinating.
So they took this AB score, this mathematical bloodhound, and pointed it at some of the biggest corporate scandals.
Yeah, they tested it against some of the most well-known fraud prediction models out there.
Okay.
Including the F score.
Okay.
And you know what? The AB score held its own, demonstrating its ability to kind of like separate the companies that were cooking the books from those that were playing by the rules.
That's impressive. So we know it works.
Yeah.
But how much better could it be?
Right.
Give me the details.
So they actually found a way to make it even better.
Okay.
They combined the AB score with elements of that F score that we talked about.
Okay.
To create something called the ABF score.
A dynamic duo.
Yeah.
Even better than the sum of their parts.
Right. And you know what's really exciting?
What?
It's not just about the improved accuracy,
Okay.
but the AB score can be used to analyze a much wider range of companies
Okay.
than some traditional models.
What do you mean? Why can it be used with more companies?
So some models depend on like specific financial ratios or data points
Okay.
that might not apply across all industries. It's like trying to use a cookie cutter for everything.
Right.
Sometimes you just need a different tool for a different job.
So the AB score is more versatile?
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Not all businesses are structured the same way.
exactly. And with more companies being analyzed,
Yeah.
we're potentially looking at some enormous cost savings.
Really?
Yeah. So auditors wouldn't have to waste time on companies that are squeaky clean.
That makes sense.
And regulators could focus their efforts on, those flashing warning signs.
Okay, now we're talking real world impact. Do we have any idea how much money could be saved?
So the researchers estimated that the potential savings could be in the billions.
Billions with a B. That's not chump change.
No.
How did they even begin to put a number on something like that?
Think about all the money lost to fraud each year.
Right.
Plus the cost of investigations, audits,
Yeah.
legal battles, all of that.
Right.
It adds up quickly.
Yeah. It does.
by catching that fraudulent activity early,
Yeah.
or even deterring it altogether.
Right.
The A/B score could have a massive impact on the bottom line for companies and the economy as a whole.
That's a game changer. So did they put the A/B score to the test with some real-world examples?
You did.
Okay.
And not just any examples.
Yeah.
We're talking some of the most infamous cases of corporate fraud in history.
Okay.
The kind of stuff that, like, rocked the financial world
Right.
and made headlines for months.
You're talking about companies like Enron and WorldCom.
Exactly.
Those were huge scandals.
Huge scandals. And the A/B score,
Yeah.
particularly that combined ADF score, was able to detect those cases, sometimes even earlier than traditional methods.
Really?
It was like they could see the cracks in the facade before anyone else.
That's incredible. It really shows the power of this tool, not just in theory,
Right.
but in real-world scenarios that had a tangible impact on the market and people's lives.
Absolutely.
But were there any limitations? Did they miss any cases?
That's an important question.
Yeah.
And it's crucial to remember that no model is perfect.
Right.
While the A/B score shows incredible promise,
Yeah.
it's not a foolproof crystal ball.
So even with a tool as powerful as the A/B score,
Yeah.
there's still going to be some like crafty companies out there
Right.
that manage to slip through the cracks.
Yes, and it's important to understand why Benford's law is powerful. But we're still talking about, analyzing financial data.
Right.
And there are sometimes factors at play that even the most sophisticated algorithms can't fully account for.
It's like that saying, like, numbers don't lie.
Right.
But liars can figure.
Exactly.
Right.
You said perfectly.
It really is about human behavior.
Yeah.
And human beings are very good at adapting
Absolutely.
and finding ways around the system.
Especially when there's a lot at stake.
Especially when there's a lot at stake.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how many potential, like, Enrons were caught early.
Right.
Because someone noticed something was off, even if they couldn't put their finger on why.
Absolutely. That's why the human element is still so crucial.
Okay.
Like Benford's law and these A/B scores.
Yeah.
These are powerful tools. But they're most effective when they're used in conjunction with human judgment and human investigation.
So it's not about replacing human auditors with algorithms. It's about giving them a leg up.
Exactly.
Give it that edge.
Instead of just like sifting through mountains of data from every single company,
Every single one.
they can focus on the ones that are flagged.
Right?
The ones that have the high likelihood.
The ones that are saying, hey, look at me.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like having a sniffer dog at the airport.
Yeah.
You don't check every single bag.
Right.
But if the dog's like, hold on a second,
Something's up here.
you take a closer look.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And it's not just about catching the bad guys after the fact.
Right.
Like, imagine the deterrent effect.
If you're a company
Yeah.
and you know that your books are going to be analyzed this way,
Right.
you might think twice before cooking the books.
Absolutely.
So it's like a win-win.
It is.
It saves time,
Yep.
it potentially saves money,
Absolutely.
and it might even discourage companies from trying to pull a fast one in the first place.
100%.
And let's not forget about the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
A more transparent and accountable financial system benefits everyone.
Everyone. Absolutely.
This has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
We started with this abstract mathematical principle, Benford's law, and we ended up in the high-stakes world of corporate fraud.
That's right.
We explored this intriguing potential of the A/B score to detect fraud,
Yeah.
potentially saving, like, billions of dollars and making the market a fairer place.
It's a great example of how something is, seemingly abstract as mathematics can have a profound impact on our daily lives.
It makes you wonder what other hidden patterns and mathematical tools are out there,
That's right.
just waiting to be discovered
Absolutely.
and applied to some of the world's most pressing problems.
It's a good question.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
And on that note,
Yeah.
we'll wrap up this deep dive.
Right.
Thanks for joining us.